Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
CARICOM urged to be on standby to help Guyana in its constitutional crisis. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, January 7th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Former Jamaica Prime Minister Bruce Golding says the Caribbean community, CARICOM, must stand ready to assist Guyana, which is in the midst of a constitutional crisis, warning that the country really cannot afford the political stalemate. The 3.5-year-old David Granger-led coalition government suffered a major blow on December 21st last year when then-government backbencher Charandas Prasad voted in support of an opposition-moved vote of no confidence. Since then, opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo has been calling on the government to honor the vote and hold fresh elections by March this year in keeping with the stipulations of the Constitution, but the government has taken the matter to court. Noting that it will take some time for the issue to be adjudicated, former Prime Minister Golding said a protracted period of uncertainty in Guyana's political arrangements is something that the country can ill afford, especially at this time. Writing in the Jamaica Observer newspaper, he said the stalemate, quote, has all the ingredients to create a flashpoint that could roll back much of the advancement that Guyana has made in its political processes, end quote. Golding further cautioned that the issue could also reignite deeply polarizing instincts that Guyana has had to struggle to overcome. He said, quote, Guyana's leaders must rise above this. Too much is at stake. The private sector and the trade union movement must be prepared to constructively engage, grasp the big picture, and collaborate with the government and opposition toward a solution that will sustain confidence and stability and enable Guyana to get through this, end quote. He added that CARICOM must stand ready to offer assistance to its member country if needed in a way that is acceptable to both the government and the opposition. The former Jamaican leader says Guyana cannot afford to falter at this time, especially not when it is on the cusp of a new horizon of hope and real possibilities. He's referring there to the burgeoning oil industry. Golding contended that political stability is a critical factor to ensure investor confidence, not only in oil extraction, but also in the wide range of downstream industries and enterprises that the industry would make possible. Meantime, Jagdeo says the priority for his opposition People's Progressive Party when he meets with President David Granger this week to discuss the controversial no-confidence vote will be on holding general elections. But the opposition leader says he'll still have an open mind on issues of governance. Jagdeo is adamant that the government should call general elections, and he says preparations for free and fair elections will therefore be the main issue on the agenda of a Wednesday's meeting with President Granger. Staying in Guyana, authorities are speaking out against acts of aggression by Venezuela after that country's Navy attempted to land a helicopter on an ExxonMobil vessel last month. We get more in this report from HGP Nightly News.
Hours after the confidence vote in the National Assembly on December 21, the Venezuelan Navy intercepted a vessel conducting exploratory seismic work on behalf of ExxonMobil within the Stabroek Block the following day. Minutes after that incident, a reckless attempt was made to land a helicopter on the deck of another vessel. This is according to Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge, who was briefed by the company following the incidents.
The Ramford Thetis. That vessel was flagged by the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and had a total of 70 crew members on board, including the captain. It was intercepted in the exclusive economic zone and the continental shelf of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana at an approximate distance of 140 kilometers from the nearest point to the provisional equidistant line with Venezuela, and some 250 kilometers from Puerto Playa, the westernmost point on the land border of Guyana.
Prior to the occurrences, the Foreign Affairs Minister said that the world and its mariners, including Venezuelans, had been alerted to the intended commencement of seismic work on Guyana's EEZ.
This alert was by way of an advisory from Guyana. Rather than speak to us, Venezuelan authorities waited, tried to seize the vessel, and then sent us a note verbal dated December the 20th.
Lawyers in Grenada on Monday staged a silent protest outside the Supreme Court registry, warning of a judicial system crisis that threatens public confidence, public order, good governance, and the economic and social life of the country. And Lisa Taylor, president of the Grenada Bar Association, the GBA, defended the lawyers' decision, saying that years after the destruction of the court, they should not be waiting for a permanent solution. The GBA said the authorities have not demonstrated with sufficient urgency and action that they accept there's a crisis, that they intend to deal with it once and for all, and how they intend to do so. The association said that following the complete shutdown of all criminal and civil high courts in May 2018, it gave the government until the end of last year to provide suitable accommodations to collectively house all high courts and ancillary services. But the deadline passed with still only one operational criminal high court and a temporary civil high court housed in the Grenada Parliament. The association said this is causing an increase in the backlog of cases and affecting the ability of litigants to access justice and, in some cases, liberty. Over in Dominica, an opposition legislator says the country should review the constitution and decide whether a person with dual citizenship should be allowed to contest elections. Joshua Francis, parliamentary representative for Roseau South, says the necessary amendments should be made to bring Dominica in line with regional and international developments. Speaking on the state-owned radio DBS, the member of the main opposition United Workers' Party noted that the constitution has not been reviewed since Dominica got it in 1978 when it attained independence from Britain, although there have been social transformations over the years. Francis, who is an attorney, said there are other issues in the Constitution that have to be considered. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has told citizens just how challenging managing the Twin Island Republic has been over the last 3 years. In part one of an address to the nation on Sunday night, he accused the former United National Congress government of wasting $29 billion that could have been used to fund much-needed projects. We get the details in this CNC3 news report.
The government is not magic. The government is management.
In part one of his report to the nation, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley used graphs and other visuals to help explain the state of the country. Before an audience, he gave an account of the financial situation the PNM inherited in September 2015. The Prime Minister showed how much revenue that was generated from oil and gas and how bad the situation had developed. He said the PNM was forced to make cutbacks from the size of its cabinet and cut back on wasteful spending. He said things have been slowly turning around.
IMF and the Ministry of Finance predicting that if we maintain the same level of proficiency and good governance that we are maintaining, we could do a 2% growth on the economy. That's that dashed line. And if we maintain that, we would be above where we were here. And we would be stable with a future that holds out hope for good quality of life in the country. That's where we're at now. And you see the projections for 2019 and 2020, the dashed white line, that is where we're aiming to go. This is where we've come from. And let nobody in this country tell you otherwise.
But the Prime Minister said the UNC government had been aware of the financial situation, but instead increased its spending right before the 2015 election, borrowing millions of dollars for several state entities. In fact, he said the UNC raided the NGC 4 times in 1 year. The Prime Minister said if the PNM opted to continue spending, the country would have been plunged into financial chaos. He had no choice but to cut the amount of money needed to run the country daily from $170 million to $140 million.
If we had continued trying to spend $170 million a day, we would have bankrupted this country.
Part 2 of Rowley's address will be aired on Monday night. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, the Jamaica government brings on additional workers to help fight a dengue outbreak in the island. We'll be right back.
So the instruments you play the bass, what else?
First instrument I played was acoustic guitar.
Ah.
That's the first instrument I ever learned to play. Then I wanted to expand. My fingers were hurting, forming the chords.
Okay.
So the bass has more width and more expansion.
Right.
And then I started practicing the bass from about 10, when I was about 10. So I played the bass at church. I went to school, I started to play the trumpet.
I used to play
the trombone,
Huh.
the tuba.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Butcher Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to stkitsmusicfestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Welcome back. The Jamaica government says additional temporary workers are being sent to the parish of Westmoreland as authorities seek to eliminate mosquito breeding sites to deal with an outbreak of dengue on the island. Health authorities have confirmed 2 dengue-related deaths for the January to December period last year and said the number of cases has surpassed the epidemic threshold. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says additional workers will be added through the Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Program and the Ministry of Health Vector Support Program. He said the Westmoreland area had over 100 suspected cases of dengue fever in the last year, as well as 4 confirmed cases. While calls for delaying the reopening of schools in dengue-affected areas in the island has been ignored by the Health Minister. Schools reopened on Monday. We get the details in this TVJ News report.
Last week's announcement of a dengue outbreak in the island left some people in a tizzy. The opposition blasted Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton for what they described as undermining the seriousness of the disease for months. Now there is another concern, this time for the reopening of schools to be suspended until thorough vector control activities are carried out to prevent students from being infected.
These type of mosquitoes, the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, normally hide in dark places and attack your ankles and things like that. And with Greater Portmore schools that we know that are very close to major drains, and past experience has showed us that a lot of these mosquitoes are in these schools.
Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, is also joining that call. He explained that it would only take a few days to carry out fogging and other activities at schools in areas like Waterford, Greater Portmore, and Gregory Park in St. Catherine.
I'm not saying that they're not being or they weren't clean. I'm saying because the ministry has now accepted the fact that there is an outbreak and these are the most affected areas, we are saying that it would be wise for the government to do some suspension of the opening of schools in these areas.
But Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton thinks all that is not necessary.
We have been taking the appropriate steps to ensure that the school environment is secure in terms of breeding sites. The health team, the public health team, have been instructed some time now to visit the institutions to do appropriate inspection if there's a need for fogging or for larvicidal application to water catchment systems, then it should be done.
It's almost 1 week into the new year, and many of us have promised ourselves yet again that we'll stick to our New Year's resolutions. And for those of us who've set a goal to eat healthy, there's some help to ensure we keep that promise in 2019. The details in this week's Newsline Health.
One of the most common resolutions we make at the beginning of each year is to lead a healthier lifestyle. And this year, the Pan American Health Organization is helping us to keep that promise to ourselves. It is particularly important given the significant rise in non-communicable diseases in the region in recent years. PAHO has published 5 tips on how we can all live healthier in 2019. First, eat a balanced diet. You can do this by mixing staple foods such as wheat, rice, and potatoes with legumes like lentils and beans, fresh fruits and vegetables, and foods from animal sources such as meat, fish, eggs, and milk. Other options are to choose lean meats and try steaming or boiling food instead of frying. For snacks, choose raw vegetables, unsalted nuts, and fresh fruits instead of foods that are high in sugar, fat, or salt. And speaking of salt, PAHO also recommends reducing the intake as too much salt can raise blood pressure, which is a leading factor for heart disease and stroke. The third step we can take towards a healthier 2019 is to reduce certain fats and oils. Some fat is necessary in the diet, but too much, especially the wrong kind, increases the risk of obesity, heart disease, and stroke. Industrially produced trans fats are the most dangerous for health, and a diet high in this kind of fat has been found to increase the risk of heart disease by nearly 30%. You could replace butter and lard with healthier oils such as soybean, corn, and sunflower oil. A fourth step towards a healthier year is to limit your sugar intake. Too much sugar increases the risk of unhealthy weight gain and obesity, which can lead to serious chronic health problems. And the fifth and final recommendation from PAHO is to avoid the harmful use of alcohol. Drinking too much and too often increases your immediate risk of injury as well as causes long-term effects like liver damage, heart disease, cancer, and mental illness. Less alcohol is always better for health, and remember, it is okay not to drink. Here's wishing you a happy and healthy 2019. Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, we have the latest results from the Regional 4-Day Championship. Stay with us.
In this case, certainly centers around a theme of anti-Semitism. You know, it's hard to believe in this country that there are still people running around hating people because they're Jewish or because they're black or whatever is their protected status. But in this particular case, you know, the County of Madera is certainly off the beaten path of major metropolis cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Buju Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
and valleys too.
You're watching Caribbean Vibrations TV, and we're here at the beautiful Petition Hill development, speaking with the executive chef of Belmont Farm, Chef Christophe. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for that amazing spread that you gave to us. Everything is so fresh, so natural. Tell us about the farm program you guys have here.
Well, it's really based on the ingredients that are grown on the farm. So we base all the menu around what's available seasonally around the farm.
We continue with sports now. West Indies fast bowler Alzari Joseph reiterated his return to full fitness by going through Trinidad and Tobago Red Force as Leeward Islands Hurricanes claimed an emphatic 245-run victory in the third round of the Regional 4-Day Championship on Monday. Resuming the day on 26 without loss in pursuit of an improbable 342 for victory, Red Force crumbled meekly for 96 all out 15 minutes into an extended first session at the Brian Lara Stadium. Though they lost Kyle Hope and Amir Jangu early in the day, they recovered somewhat to reach 72 for 2 before suffering an astonishing collapse that saw 7 wickets crash for 6 runs in the space of 28 deliveries. First innings top scorer opener Jeremy Solozano again led Red Force with 42, but was one of only 2 batsmen in double figures. Hope was the other with 17. Staying in cricket, Nicholas Pooran starred but was unable to prevent his Silet Sixers from a 4-wicket defeat to Comilla Victorians in the Bangladesh Premier League on Sunday. Playing at the Sherry Bangla National Stadium, the West Indies left-hander top scored with 41 as Sixers rallied to 127 for 8 off their 20 overs after being sent in. Sixers were slumping quickly at 56 for 5 in the 12th over before Pooran counter-attacked, smashing 5 fours and 2 sixes in a 26-ball cameo. He inspired a 55-run 6-wicket stand with former Bangladesh Test all-rounder Alok Kapali, which pushed the total past the 100-run mark. In reply, Pooran's Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies teammate Evan Lewis only made 5 runs, and Victorians recovered to overhaul their target with a ball to spare. To football now, Jamaican striker Jamil Matt said it was a fantastic feeling when his powerful early header helped set up League 2 Newport County's shock 2-1 English FA Cup third-round win over visiting Premier League outfit Leicester City on Sunday. Ian Wright, the former Arsenal and England striker who was commentating on the game for BBC One, said Matt was brilliant in the game. Asked where he ranked the win in his career, 29-year-old Matt said, quote, "This is right at the top. To score against a Premier League club is massive for us and for Newport because it's a community family club. It's a great, great feeling. I cannot lie," end quote. It was Matt's 14th goal of the season in all competitions for the Welsh outfit, who are 13th in League 2 and 74 places below Leicester on the league ladder. Born in Jamaica, Matt began his UK career at Sutton Coldfield Town before moving to Kidderminster Harriers in 2010. He spent 3 seasons at the club before moving to Fleetwood Town in January 2013. Bermuda police say they have arrested a second suspect in connection with the holiday murder of well-known footballer Ronico Burchell. A Bermuda Police Service spokesman said a 24-year-old man has been taken into custody. Earlier, it was announced that a 31-year-old man had been arrested in connection with the murder. 30-year-old Burchell, who was first-choice goalkeeper for Premier Division side Boulevard Community Club, was shot at point-blank range as he stood outside St. David's County Cricket Club in the early hours of December 29th last year, while 100 members were enjoying a party inside. He died in hospital the following day. He was Bermuda's 4th murder victim of 2018. The Guyana Football Federation, the GFF, has fired its head of referees Stanley Lancaster after findings of sexual misconduct against him. GFF President Wayne Ford, who made the revelation on Monday, said Lancaster's dismissal will take immediate effect. The move came after the GFF launched an inquiry led by Olympic Association Vice President Dr. Karen Pilgrim in March 2018 after female referees made allegations of sexual harassment. The GFF's referees assessor, Roy MacArthur, who also had allegations leveled against him, was given a provisional suspension as the Federation awaits the outcome of disciplinary proceedings by its disciplinary committee. Trinidad and Tobago's top cyclists will be aiming to get much-needed points to qualify for next year's Olympics when they take on the rest of the world in this year's World Cup in Hong Kong and New Zealand. TV6's Sergio Dufour caught up with the team ahead of both tournaments.
Trinidad and Tobago's cycling team are on the road again. This time they're heading to New Zealand and Hong Kong to take part in the World Cup to gain valuable points towards the Olympics. Coach of the team, Aaron Hartwell, was hesitant to reveal his expectations, but he did say they will be competitive.
We don't ever predict results per se, and I'm not going to make that public, but we're always going to be well prepared. We never go into competition not knowing what to expect, as does the rest of the world. So, you know, this is Olympic qualification. We expect it to be hyper competitive, but at the end of the day, and where we stand right now, our guys are just as competitive. So I expect good results.
The team will include Nicholas Paul, Jacine Phillip, Kwesi Brown, and Keron Bramble, as well as 2 reserves. Paul says he is ready.
I'm as ready as can be. I just want to go out there and better my result from the last World Cup, so hoping to get on the podium. If not, well, a good result.
His teammate Brown says that their experience gives them motivation.
Confidence comes from training, and we have been going well in training, so confidence is high, not just by me, but my teammates.
He also revealed his observations on his personal development.
I think personally, coming off of London recently and having a couple of weeks to get back into training, I think personally I'm where I should be heading into New Zealand and Hong Kong.
The team, while hoping to medal, are using the competition to gain points towards the 2020 Olympics.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
So we rely on journalists like you to tell us what's going on. So please tell us what is going on.
That's quite an expectation. Maybe I will not be able to. Look, it's true. It's true that we are, when it comes to the struggle against Israeli domination and.
If you are really a fan of 90s R&B, you might recognize this young lady to my left from one of the dopest groups from back in the day, Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
That's a trademark right there. Yeah.
This was from the 90s.
So, wait, is that a cassette single?
Yes, this is a cassette.
Now
we were produced by Full Force.
Again, the major developments of this day, former Jamaican Prime Minister Bruce Golding urges CARICOM to be on standby to help Guyana in its constitutional crisis. And in sport, Leeward Islands Hurricanes claim a 245-run victory over Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in the 3rd round of the regional 4-day championship. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have a good night.